Now I'm going to try and sort of show you various techniques of how to use these sort of chalk pastels. And one of the good ones to start with, because this is like a chalk pastel sketch by, was it Degas?
Yes, I think so.
But so I'm going to just show you how I would sort of go about it. It's not going to be perfect. I'm not a sort of chalk pastel person, I'm more of a cartoonist really, but I know my way around this, and you might learn something, you might not. I don't know.
Will.
But anyway, I'll attempt to do this. So what I sort of try to do to begin with is actually find the pastel I need, and I'm just looking at the sort of background, general background colour of this. And what I'm going to use is I'm just going to put a bit of brown on. Now, do it very lightly, and I'm using just the side of the chalk, and I'm just sort of very lightly letting the chalk just sort of drift onto the paper. Don't go too hard, you don't need to. Always sort of work, to begin with anyway, very lightly, so if you do make a mistake, you're not stuck with it. Now one way to do this is to sort of get if you can scratch off some powder and get a cotton swab and then sort of apply it like that, and you don't get all this sort of line work. But for the instances of this, it doesn't really matter. And sort of blur it with your hands just to kind of get a colour. So I've got my sort of basis for this, and what I thought I'd do is I just concentrate on the main figure. I'm not going to do all this stuff in the background, just this young lady here. So first of all, I'll still keep my brown chalk, and I'm going to use the sharp little corner, and I'm going to use it like a pencil. So see where her head is, and it's she's bowed down, so I'm doing the head like an egg, but it's sort of going that direction because she's bowing her head down. And I'm slowly going to sort of build a frame of where I think she's, you know, her body posture. So we've got her back here, her shoulder sort of here, and just slowly, very lightly, with the edge, do a sort of sketch of where she is, and the arm coming out where the shoulder is. It's all very logical, and the arm coming down there, and slowly sort of work out where everything is. She's sort of tying the bow of her, of her bow. So there's the skirt, like that, and I'll sort of run out brown. So I'll just smudge that in, and then look where her sort of leg is, and you can actually see through her skirt. There's indication there. I'm just sort of drawing her legs in. There's the knee, and then the back of the calf and the straight bit. So when you're drawing sort of legs, do the knee, and then the curve of the, you know, the muscle in your leg, and then the straight bit of your shin, like that. So it's a curved and a straight. Then the ankle. Think about how the anatomy of the body goes, and you can do that because you're human. You've got anatomy, so you can check out the way things go. Okay, so, or you know, look at your mum and dad or something, or your brother or sister. So our legs pointing in the other direction, like that. So I'm sort of fairly happy with that. It's not perfect, but never mind. Then what I'll do is I'll start actually doing in detail. I'll just start putting the detail on and put some brown on my nose while I'm at it. So there's the forehead there, sort of roughly, sort of the eye is in the centre of the egg. So you just sort of think about these things. And there's her cheek. And she's not quite in profile, you just see the lumps and bumps of her nose and her chin. She hasn't got much of a chin, this poor girl. Disappearing into her neck, like that. And then her little nosy is popping out like that.
Can I just check? Can you people over there see?
Can you see?
No, I didn't think you could.
Come on. So,
Can everybody see down?
can you see?
Yep. Right.
Right, okay. So I've sort of put in her nose and a, you know, sort of three-quarter profile. Look where the ear is. and that sort of comes in from the line of the eye, sort of up there, and I'll just sort of draw in the hair like this, and that'll just be my sort of basic colour. If you look at the sort of basic colour of that, it's a sort of lighter brown than this, but I'm sure Degas had more pastels than we've got, so we'll just have to make do with this. And just where her back is, you know, the back of her dress. And I think that's quite a nice kind of layout to build from. So I haven't done her hand or anything, but I don't think he has really. You look at it and it's all sort of doing stuff at the back. So when you look at this, it's very dramatic. You've got a light source, which I would imagine is a window here, hitting the dress, and it's really picked out the whiteness of her dress and the bow and everything. And then at the back it's very dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the dark bits, and then I'm going to pick out the light bits with the chalk. So I will start with a bit of blue. I'll stick a bit of blue in, because if you look at her skirt, he's used blue, and he's used it quite roughly. And what I'm doing is I'm going with the sort of shape of the dress that she's wearing. If you're drawing anything, it helps if you go in the sort of direction of it. It makes it feel more real. If I did it like that, it would destroy the feeling of this dress sort of coming out and the patterns of it. So try and think about what you're drawing, and be sympathetic with your line work to actually, you know, so if you're drawing your face or anything, feel the contours of your face and try and replicate that in your movements when you're using your chalk. Then I think he's got a bit of brown there, so I'll just sort of stick in a bit of brown. This is all the dark bits. Got a bit of black on there, but that doesn't matter. And smudge it in. And what he's done is he's sketched this, so it's quite rough and rugged, but he's gone with all the sort of directions of the body and everything. So it feels, it's got movement, but it's also got form. The form of the body, the form of the dress. And I imagine he's done this for a painting he's doing. So he's just in this dancer's studio, just drawing the ballerinas with his chalks. And he's going to go back and he's going to put this in an oil painting. So it's quite sketchy, but it's got enough sort of detail in there to give him an idea of what he needs to draw when it comes to actually applying colour. That's quite a good idea. So put in little details that he's put in. And what I'm using again is just the side. Found a nice sharp side of my chalk. I'm just using that as he would have done. Like that. Like this. Black bow. Just carefully try not to touch it or smudge it as I do it. So I'm elevating my hand. But it's quite good. Even if you smudge it, you can usually fix it with a bit of white. And again, just trying to keep it nice and free and simple, and following my basic sort of line work that I prepared earlier. And then smudging in the hair. Again, with the hair, I'm trying to think of how it's going. And it's tied in a bun at the back, so all the hair is sort of stressed and going back. So I'm trying to replicate that by drawing that little lines like that and then smudging it in with my finger. And if I look at this, look at her hair, It's got all sorts of different colours in it. It's got some yellow. So I'll put some yellow in there. Smudge it in. A bit more yellow there. Smudge that in. And just little sort of patches of colour, and then you integrate it with the colour you've already put down. So you get a nice sort of graduated effect. And again, just sort of being sympathetic to the kind of colours you've got and the shape of the hair. Now I'm going to start putting the white in, and she's quite a pale lady, so I'm just going to mix this with the brown I put in earlier, and just where the cheek is I put a bit of white on, then I dab at it, and it gives it a nice sort of plump kind of look, as is her face, you know, it's nice and plump, like that, and where her ear is, and then picking out details of where the light is hitting her arm. And he's just sketched this in, he's just sort of, you can see the strokes he's put in. And if you've got any sort of debris, just blow it off. And then where the light is hitting her dress, just sort of put in the white. And in her hair. And then her legs. Oh, lost one. He was a good chalk. Thank you. So, then the detail of the blue. So I'll put this ribbon in that she's doing up at the back. Just the sort of basic shape of it. But again, sort of kind of thinking about the knot and how it lays on her body and everything, and trying to fit the sort of line work accordingly. And this obviously is laying on top of the dress, so it's producing its own shadow. So that makes it sort of feel more real if you put in a little shadow underneath it. And just look at, have a glance at it, see where the knots are and everything. And just smudge it in. Again, sort of looking at how it falls and being sympathetic to what you're drawing. And then the highlights, again the light's hitting, coming from here, so it's hitting the side of the bow and it's picking out little sort of bits of the cloth. Like that. Then he's been quite sort of dramatic in his use of black, so frightening, but I'm going to do it. Put in my bits of black, and it just gives it a certain dramatic feel, which is what he wanted. He wanted it to be a dramatic picture. Not that I asked him, but I'm sure he did. I'm old, but I'm not that old. And then little details of the ear. This is kind of like a sketch, as I said, in pastels. So it's like even though there isn't a black line around anything, he's done it, so I'm doing it. And it's quite nice, you know. It looks nice and dramatic. So I'm gonna put in this black, and I'm going to go over it again. Give it a bit of contrast, see where her leg is, and just sort of put that in, just an indication of where her leg is. Don't be frightened to use all bits of all sides of the chalk. Do anything you like, as long as you get the right effect. Then I think I'll put in a bit of background. So he's been quite rough and ready with this. I'm using the side of it. I don't think he did. I think he turned it on its side and did this. But I can't do that. So I'm going to just use the side of this. And just leave a little bit of room for this skirt. I might draw that skirt in. Don't be frightened again to move the paper around. If you want to do an effect like that on a vertical, don't be doing that. Turn the paper and do that if you want. So I'm just sort of bringing this in. And then the white. And you can see what he's done is there's more white this side than that side. It progressively gets darker. So again, he's taken into account where the window is. I imagine it's a window. And he's put that on the wall. So he's put white in here. And like, sort of flex like this. And then over here, just glasses. He's put brown on this side. So again, it gives it more drama, and this sort of validates the sort of colour scheme he's got going here, the modelling he's got on this young lady. And it makes it look quite sort of atmospheric. So just going to go over it and then pick out the white again, go over it, so it's nice sort of highlights. I've sort of done a little kneecap there. Oh, I haven't done her legs. One sec. Too far down for me to get to, you see. And again, it's just sort of, he's used, you can see what I'm doing with the calf is I'm sort of doing the line and I'm doing little circles. Little sort of arches. So again, trying to be sympathetic with her form. It's got a shadow. Always good to have a shadow. It just places the subject on the floor. Otherwise they float a bit. So it's got the dark there. Just little sort of details where her shoe is. So I've done all this. Yeah, no, he has done that. Very lightly, putting in where her legs are. A bit wibbly wobbly, but it doesn't matter, it just gives it a bit of movement and feeling. A bit of dark there. A little bit of detail, and just around the back here there's a bit of her dress picking up the light, so put that in. You can, white's brilliant on this, you can just sort of apply it, so you apply your highlights and it just pings things out. It's fantastic. I imagine they're feathers. Oh, it's got a little bow there, I didn't notice that before. And again, sort of picking that out. Then the person in the background. And again, I'm going out the way the dress would go, sort of flaps out sort of to the side. So that's what I'm doing. A little bit of blue in there. Smudge it in. And then just put more white in my face. the floor. Just knock the floor back with the white. Again, I'm using the side of it. White's great for just sort of knocking colours down. Makes them far subtler. Again, just sort of, ooh, lost another one. You've got to be quite brutal when you're doing highlights, I'm afraid. And that's sort of basically it. I mean, I can go on, but I think I've sort of shown you enough sort of techniques.
Oh, you're fantastic.
Thank you very much. But you can see you can get all sorts of different kind of textures with this. You can make it nice and smooth, or you can sort of use it as a pencil, you know, to get sort of line work, or you can kind of use it rugged and you can get nice sort of textures just off the sort of, you know, the actual chalk itself. So, there's that one. See you later, love. Now.